Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Crypto Atlas. Today's episode is going to be pretty jam-packed on some stuff that I found regarding Bitcoin, but I'm going to try and reduce down the amount of time that we have in these videos. So we're going to hopefully go through this much more smoothly, much more quickly. And we're also going to be talking about Yearn.Finance and just a little bit of an update, taking a look at the technical analysis on Orchid. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. Feel free to turn on that bell notification if you want to get alerted for future videos. It would be really appreciated if you guys hit the like button. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about today's episode. So talking about Bitcoin, first thing, against the odds, some Bitcoin traders are betting on a $36,000 price before the end of this year. A lot of people have been speculating about whether or not it could actually hit $20,000 and break the previous high. And they kind of touch on some of the elements here. So you can see this skew as it drops down here, the top BTC options, open interest change. And the most new open positions were seen in the $36,000 December call with 752 contracts. Look at that. This just started happening. The number of open positions in the $32,000 range call rose by 462 contracts. And as you can see, also we have the skew drop down, the probability of Bitcoin being above however many dollars. So it's interesting that a lot of people are starting to do these open interests and thinking that and speculating the fact that it's going to be valuable doing this now with around a $36,000 price range before the end of December. And when you look at it from a statistical perspective, the breakdown that they have, the odds of Bitcoin setting a new lifetime high over $20,000 by the year's end are just 5%, the data suggests, while the likelihood of prices crossing $28,000 is 2%. Further, the market sees only a 9% chance of Bitcoin crossing above $20,000 by the end of Q1 2020. Okay, so a lot of open interest for very high price, much higher than the all-time high that we've seen before of $20,000. But at the same time, you see low percentage chance based on the skew chart, right down here. So we're going to go ahead and check that off the list here. I'm going to try and clear up these tabs as we go along with the stuff. Now, kind of go into a little bit on what's being talked about over on Twitter, right? Some really interesting stuff going on here, like Jim Cramer. He's got a little podcast that he did with Anthony Pompliano, where he's going to have more of a conversation focused on Bitcoin. The plan B, so in regards to the previous article we just looked at, which was very speculative on like the $36,000 range, but then the probability chart was saying it's really low. So when you look at the stock to flow model from plan B and his update on this, it kind of tells a different story. This makes it sound like we are really, really set to start growing fast here, but we're basically already overdue. Stock to flow version 1 update. This is the 2019 time series model and historical Bitcoin data only, no gold, silver, diamonds, real estate data used. You see the jump in model value at the halving white line and corresponding drop in stock to flow multiple/model error white dots, time to go up. He said it is time to go up. Then here's the next thing. This is where some of the information I was looking into, I feel really starts to get extra juicy. You know, you better have a towel nearby. It's going to get so juicy. There's just going to be juices everywhere. Oh my God. Oh God. Need a bucket too. Anyways, the Microstrategy said that they're talking to the SEC on Monday that it may increase its Bitcoin holdings. We saw a price increase today. And this article was posted about 10 hours ago from CoinDesk, okay? So they previously spent $250 million into buying Bitcoin. So if they do something like this again, what could that really happen on the market, theoretically, just from one player coming into a position like this? I decided to do a little bit of digging. So talking about $250 million, it's a possibility. Maybe the market rose a little bit more today, not just because of the stock market having a positive day overall, like the S&P 500, which a lot of people are saying it's a strong correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P 500. But maybe besides the stock market having gone up, hearing news like this also sounds like, if you're going to be buying a bunch more, then that means that the demand is going to increase, which is a good increased in the price since supply is so limited. But you also got to wonder, are they buying this over the counter? Are they buying this over the exchange? And interestingly enough, I believe I may have found evidence that suggests that they had previously bought it over the exchange. And if they decide to do that again, that could be quite impactful on the price, and maybe not in the way that you kind of thought about it. So I'm going to go ahead and cross this off the list right here. So that's the article they were just now talking about, and they're posting regarding that. Okay, so last month, Microstrategy, which is up on the stock market, shares popped after the company said it would spend half of its $500 million cash hoard to purchase Bitcoin, right? Half of it. So they spent $250 million. In a new filing, MicroStrategy reveals the board has approved a new policy that splits the Treasury reserve assets into, and it goes on to talk about it, and they include Bitcoin within this. Under the new policy, MicroStrategy's Bitcoin holdings might increase beyond the previously disclosed $250 million. So you're looking at of $500 million, $250 million we know has been spent. When did they buy this? This was back on August 11th. MicroStrategy buys $250 million. The world's largest Bitcoin, the largest business intelligence firm, purchased 21,454 Bitcoin valued at $250 million back on August the 11th, right? So you can take a look here over on the CoinMarketCap based website. We go over to August 11th, and what do we kind of see? The price was starting to dip down just a little bit, and right around the $12,000 range, just right there, and then it dropped. It dropped pretty considerably, and then it started to recover itself. So what kind of happened that day? If there's a strong correlation that we're seeing between the S&P 500 and Bitcoin, did the S&P 500 also go down? Did the stock market also go down during this time, right? Because that's a pretty hefty little drop right there. And interestingly enough, we take a look over here, back on August the 11th, 2020, no. At the end of this session, the Dow was up 358 points, and the S&P 500 gained 9 points. But the NASDAQ lost 43 points. So the market overall was bullish. It didn't have like a big drop. You didn't see the S&P 500 starting to tank a whole bunch again. Fear and uncertainty coming into people's minds, thinking that maybe that's the dead cat bounce effect that's going on and it's going to drop even further down, right? So that didn't take place. So during August 11th, what really ended up happening here? Okay, so let's focus on this one first. So if we head back to August 11th, you can clearly see that from the previous day, it had hit quite high. It passed over $12,000 and then had a retracement. And then the next day, it started to climb up a little bit again, but then ended up dropping way down and then came back. So from its high to its low, we saw a difference of 7.13%, not from when it opened, but over the course of the actual full day, the highest point and the lowest point. So you're looking at a drop of 7.3 in total, and that was from right around just underneath the $12,000 range all the way down to pushing pretty close to almost $11,000. And you also see that it had basically bounced off of the 21-day moving average. So almost $1,000 price drop, but also when you correlate it to the 21 EMA, it tried to retain itself in the fact that its history was very bullish. So when it passed above this and it was staying above, building momentum, a lot of speculation, people rooting for it. Hopefully it's going to pass that $20,000 mark, right? We passed over $10,000 here and it had a huge push up. A lot of psychological elements come into play when you pass 5 figures, when you've been stuck in the 4-figure range for so long. And, you look at it historically. If it's hit $20,000 in the past, and that's a 5-digit number, if you can hit $10,000, then at the very least, there's potential there of 2 times return investment. So the uncertainty of if Bitcoin can actually still grow and ever hit something like that, you start to believe more that $20,000 is possible by hitting a new milestone. And like a $10,000, a five-figure number, is a psychological milestone. And so you see progress and you start to believe a lot more. So you see this big drop right here. Now we go look at it from a more micro perspective. I couldn't do this on the 5-minute for TradingView. It wouldn't let me go back far enough. But when you look at it here, you can see the yellow dotted line. This was over the course of when August 11th had started. And down here, you can see just next to me that it's listed as UTC, correct? That's actually very important for what I'm about to show you guys. So starting from that point all the way up to this point right here, at 1430. Why did I stop at 1430? The reason why I stopped at 1430 is because this article was published on August 11th, 2020 at 1444 UTC. Their topic is Microstrategy buys 250 million in Bitcoin. Publicly traded business intelligence firm Microstrategy purchased $21,454 of Bitcoin on Tuesday, effectively pouring all 250 million of its planned inflation hedging funds into the digital currency. There's a couple things that are really important with this. So they established that the purchase had already taken place. And they said on Tuesday. Tuesday was August 11th. So it had to be somewhere between midnight and the time of the article, correct? And $250 million is quite substantial. So did we see anything noticeably happen? We already saw that over the course of the day, it had a huge price drop that took place, correct? We're going down this rabbit hole here. I'm going to come back to this next part that's down below. But as you can take a look, so that yellow dot when it first started, that's when the day started. And then this is the point when the article came out. So you can actually see that there's a couple points where there was a substantial drop in price and there was very high volume, especially right around here at 8 o'clock. And when you look at the stock markets and everything else, personally, you want my opinion, because cryptocurrency is open 24/7. If you're going to be making a purchase of something like this and you're a company that's publicly listed on the stock market, I'm not saying definitively, but based on my research, this, I think, strongly suggests that they had made a purchase just prior to the actual stock market opening itself, which opens up the potential for when the stock market does open, that their stocks continue to rise up if news goes out and it starts spreading itself. But we didn't see the actual news come out until right around here. It has had a positive reflection on the stock market price for their company, though. So we had one instance here, another instance that was right here as well of these bigger drops. So over the course of the day, you can see this slow transition that takes place down below the 21 EMA, right? So just slow. We're looking at it on a 15-minute perspective. Then a big drop, and you're looking at it from here of 11,584 down to at one point 11,347. So roughly around $200, $250. A substantial point to kind of take into consideration there. So if this was to happen again, of the $500 million that they have talked about, we know that $250 million was already put into Bitcoin, right? I'm going to go ahead and close out this one now. The capital allocation quickly fulfills Saylor's late July promise to shareholders that MicroStrategy would buy back $250 million in stock and invest an additional $250 million in gold and Bitcoin over the next 12 months. In gold and Bitcoin, okay? And invest $250 million into gold and Bitcoin. That is what was dictated in this article. This is back on August 11th. What did they end up spending the $250 million on? How much of it was invested into gold? It doesn't look like any of it. When I searched for MicroStrategy buys gold, I didn't see anything directly saying how much that they bought or that they bought anything. Every article that comes up is talking about Bitcoin. In fact, one of the things that's being talked about here and this was on August 12th, the CEO of the company for Microstrategy, they actually said that they call Bitcoin digital gold. If they already see Bitcoin as digital gold and they put $250 million worth into it, then in their minds, they don't really need to invest in gold. This is what it sounds like to me, the way that I'm interpreting what the CEO himself said, what the articles are stating of what their interests are and the purchases that they're looking to do, right? All right, so let's go ahead and close this article out. And did I have anything else on this page? We did not, so I'm gonna go ahead and close that out right there too. And yeah, so they were talking about $500 million. $250 million we know has been spent. So speculatively, if they were looking to invest again, then we could see, I think theoretically, up to another $250 million. The company itself is estimated to be approximately $1.2 billion. So if you spent $250 million off of buying your own stock and then investing those funds into it, right? So you're dropping your valuation, not your valuation, but essentially you're afflicting your price by $250 million. So it's going below a $1 billion point. And if you got $250 million more that you're considering of where to put your investments, it could be up to the same thing that we saw again. And if they do it again and they buy it off the exchanges, especially as of lately, we've been seeing a lot of the people are buying over the counter. But a little bit more recently, the miners have decided to start pushing some back onto the exchanges. So are we going to see another big price drop like this over a very short period in time? And is that going to kind of cascade into another pullback situation where people are just kind of flooding and trying to take what their profits are? Maybe it's going to push that back down psychologically towards trying to fill that CME gap. Who knows? So I'm going to talk briefly about what's going on with Orchid, and then I'm going to show you what's going on with Yearn.Finance and kind of give you some real-life comparisons of something. Just kind of fun to really relate the stuff, and then we're going to try to wrap it up. And of course, I'm making a long video again. Oh my God. I did a lot of research on this video. We're not gaining much on subscribers, to be honest with you. We've been getting some good views, and I do appreciate all of your guys' views. And if you guys are watching this and you've seen my previous videos and you didn't want to subscribe, if you don't want to subscribe, I mean, that's totally on you. But would really love to try and push for that 1,000 goal, and it would be awesome to have you guys be a part of the community. And please let me know in the comments down below if you have been enjoying this content, if this is your first time, if you've come back here before, or if you have anything specific that you would like me to try and focus on of the currencies that we have talked about recently, and just hear more information about those. So I'm talking about Orchid because I know a lot of people are interested in this. I'm really interested in the project too. And real quick, I know I didn't say it at the beginning, but I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't ask me for financial advice. And also always continue to do more research on your own. There's a disclaimer, right? I could say that I said it in the video. Anyways, so at the very top here, if we do a Fibonacci retracement down to the lowest levels, we're seeing potentially, because right now it's a lot of sideways action and it's still forming this symmetrical triangle. It could really go in any direction, but it's slightly positive. And we've been showing overall an increase of new higher lows. Volume has been diminishing quite a bit here. So if something was to happen, hopefully something's going to happen kind of soon. Historically, you see that it has these long periods where not much really goes on. We've had a lot more take place since that long period of nothing going on, because now it's on more exchanges. There's more activity going on in their blogs, and they're trying to give a lot more statistics and things. It seems like they're becoming a lot more proactive in their engagements. The CEO, I believe it was the CEO for Orchid, he was saying that he's more focused on long-term stuff overall anyways with their company. So I don't know. I'm hoping that this is going to go up. Hypothetically, if it breaks above this resistance, then we could be seeing the next levels right around here, around 35 cents. It has kind of bounced off of this here and tested the waters. It hasn't had enough to be able to reclaim above to the 0.618, which would be around just under 40 cents. Just under 40 cents. If it could continue off of that, then we would be seeing another push up to the 0.5 at point of just a little over 42 cents. So it's still got quite a bit of work to try and do. If it was to drop down further below, let's say it passes down below the support line here, then we might see it push back down to around 30 cents. And then after that, we maybe even see it pull all the way back down to these lower levels here, where this just started to build up a little momentum. And in this range here, you're looking around 20 to 18 cents. And then worst case scenario here, yeah, it's right around 18 cents. I think, in my opinion, that is very unlikely, especially when you see the adoption and what the actual usage is on Orchid. So that's just real brief coverage on that. Let's go ahead and go back to the last thing, or not go back, but let's move on to the last thing, because it's already ended up being a longer video than what I intended, and I apologize about that, but hopefully you still enjoyed the content. So looking at Yearn.Finance, it's up 12.18%. Doing really good as far as its price goes, and tomorrow you should be able to buy it on Coinbase. If everything continues as planned, is what they've talked about, it should be going up on Coinbase. Recently had hit a very high price. We're looking at 43,000 right here, like 43,750 kind of dollars. Had a little bit of a pullback here. If we look at it on the daily chart, you can see that at even one point it pushed back up to the $42,000 range, came down a little bit. So with its adoption onto Coinbase, historically, we've seen a lot of stuff that goes on Coinbase. Starts to be very bullish, starts to push up the price. And if Bitcoin is starting to go on its rally, this could be just another one of those things that people are looking at that next big opportunity. They say, I'm willing to invest into a project. How high could this go? Well, speculatively, Arthur Hayes, the CEO of BitMEX, he thinks that it'll eventually hit $100,000. It's the third time that he's made this prediction, with the most recent being made after Wi-Fi rallied as a result of Coinbase Pro announcing it was listing the token. And so we scroll down here a little bit in the 4-hour chart. There's a couple points that they mention that are bullish and a couple that are bearish, but it looks like more bullish news than bearish. Trade volume is in the red. However, selling is reducing, indicating a possibility of renewed buying activity. The value of Wi-Fi at $40,400 is above the 50, 100, and 200 moving averages on the 4-hour time frame. And Wi-Fi's price is also above the previous all-time high of $39,900 that is now acting as support. MACD, the moving average divergence, is about to cross in a bearish manner. So if that cross fully commits through, then that tends to be a little bit more of an indicator of like a longer term downtrend progressively until it tends to have the reversal. But we do see dips down below sometimes. Like you can even see right here, kind of dropped just a little bit down below and popped above, but it didn't actually have those convergences. It's just showing the convergence towards the end there. 4-hour MFI is indicating an overbought situation. So if it's being overbought on the top here, well, guess what? It got to try and balance itself out. So a lot of people might end up being selling it pretty soon. Also worth mentioning is that the creator of Yearn.Finance wants to cap the supply of Wi-Fi permanently at $30,000. If this proposal goes through, Wi-Fi could very much hit Arthur Hayes' $100,000 and possibly keep moving up in the weeks and months to follow. And I apologize about that. I guess somebody just subscribed to my YouTube channel, to my Twitch. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting that. I'm not even live on Twitch. Let me double check. Yeah, I'm not live on Twitch. So 30,000. Is there anything that we can kind of relate to just for fun to say is a collectible item that has 30,000 in existence? Yeah. Actually, I did a little bit of research here. And so you have the 1995 W-proof gold and silver American Eagles 10th anniversary 5-coin set US Mint. And these coins, right, where did it go? Only 30,000 ever made, making it one of the rarest sets in modern history. One of the rarest sets, this entire collection, right? What does the price of something like this kind of look? Well, when we look at this listing, and this is what's also interesting because you're looking at a very speculative based market. It's with the value of two individuals deem it to be worth, right? We know that there's 30,000. This listing right here, they're identifying it as $3,400. Previously, they had put it at $7,000. So if you were to say that Wi-Fi was the equivalent value of this collectible coin, you could see it potentially as low as like a $3,400 price point. If you reference it to this, if we scroll down, you could see an individual one of these, the 1995 that's being listed here, that's used, and they put it for $22,425. That's just one, right? And this is supposed to be the collection of 5. So there's a bit of a discrepancy there between these two things. This one over here, you can see the same thing. This one being listed at $25,950. And then, I mean, these are different coins here that just kind of go on. But when you're looking at specifically those 1995s, right? Pretty high prices. Pretty high prices, and not as high as what Yearn actually is. But Yearn actually has applications to it as well. So it's not only limited supply and like a collectible that some people might be looking at, but it has actual applications to it. Something else, yeah. So this one right here, 1995 W proof $1 coin, and they're listing that one for like $3,195 just for that one individual coin itself. So just kind of fun little side thing for you guys to kind of take into consideration here. As you can tell, most of the information was in regards to Bitcoin at $10,750 right now, having shown over the last day some good bullish momentum, and actually had passed above the 21 EMA, reclaimed back down, and now it's hovering basically right on that line. So if it can maintain itself above that, that's a good bullish indicator. We want that to happen. Unless you want it to go down so you can buy more. I mean, I'm okay with that too right now. So yeah, guys, I know this turned out to be a really long video, but I jam-packed a lot of information. I just kept finding stuff and going further down that rabbit hole. Again, if you guys are new and enjoyed this information, then please do not forget to hit subscribe, hit that like button down below. Thank you guys so much for being here, and drop a comment. Let me know something down below. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.